What made this man destroy his own fire, every single night, with his own hands? The one thing keeping his family alive, and he was burying it in ash. Why? Tonight, we uncover a secret that stayed hidden for thousands of years. Night has fallen over the quiet camp. A man crouches low near the fire, glancing over his shoulder into the darkness, as if he's being watched. His hands move fast, pulling handfuls of ash over the flames he built with his own hands just hours before. Why would anyone tear down the one wall standing between his family and the dark? This fire was not just warmth, it was everything they had. Without it, the cold could kill a person before sunrise arrived. Raw meat carried sickness, but cooked meat meant strength and survival. In the darkness beyond camp, Wolf's eyes caught the light and glowed, yet as long as the fire burned steadily, they stayed far away. By firelight, tools were shaped, night after night, stone struck against stone until the edge was sharp enough for the hunt. Around that same fire, stories were passed down, and children sat wide-eyed, listening to tales of the hunt and the stars above. These stories carried knowledge, warnings, and history forward through every generation. Then one man learned something no one else had managed before: how to carry the flame itself. Moving it carefully between camps, through wind and rain, keeping it alive across long distances. He dug the very first pit for it, and slowly the whole camp began gathering around that one spot. Day by day, the fire became the true heart of everything they did. It kept them fed, it kept them warm, it kept them together. But one exhausted night, a tired man forgot to fully cover it before sleep took him. Smoke curled upward into the night sky, rising higher than it ever should have. Light spilled far beyond the edges of camp, cutting sharply through the darkness. Miles away across the hills, a pack of wolves caught that signal drifting through the air. Slowly, steadily, they began moving toward the glow they could now clearly see. Inside the cave, the tribe slept peacefully, completely unaware of what was approaching. A child shifted slightly in their sleep, but no one stirred, no one woke. Closer and closer the wolves crept, their eyes catching flashes of distant firelight. Every step brought them nearer to a camp that had no idea it was being watched. At the first light of dawn, the elders stepped outside and saw exactly what had happened overnight. The ash had not fully covered the flame, and the glow had reached too far. He gathered the tribe together and pointed silently toward the distant hills where danger had come from. It was time, he decided, to build something far better than before. This time, they dug the pit much deeper into the earth itself. Glowing embers were placed carefully inside, and a thick layer of ash packed tightly over the top. The heat stayed safely trapped inside, but the light that once betrayed them now stayed completely hidden. For the first time, they had found a way to keep the fire alive without giving away their location. By the next morning, the embers underneath were still alive, still glowing faintly beneath the ash. A little air, a gentle breath, and the flame returned just as strong as before. One by one, the tribe learned to build this same pit for themselves. Soon, every single fire in camp followed this careful new design. Stones were added around the edges for extra cover and protection. The glow that once reached all the way to the distant hills now stayed close, contained, and completely safe within the camp itself. That night, for the first time in a long while, the hills stayed completely dark. Nothing came looking, nothing moved toward the sleeping camp. The tribe rested without fear, without the weight of danger hanging over them. Morning arrived calm and unbroken, exactly as it always should. The fire returned the same way it always had, faithful and steady as ever. But now, unlike before, it was truly, completely safe from harm. Seasons came and went, and the tribe kept hunting, kept teaching, kept passing down what they knew. Children learned the old skills by firelight, watching their elders work late into evening. Then winter arrived hard and unforgiving, testing everything they had built. Snow fell for days without stopping, and still, deep in that pit, the flame refused to die. Eventually the storm passed, and the fire never once went out completely. The tribe stepped outside into a world covered in snow, grateful for what had carried them through. It was proof that what they had built could survive anything the season threw at them. Spring finally came, and the snow around camp slowly began to melt away. Green shoots pushed through soil that had been frozen for months. Life outside the cave started again, fresh and full of new possibility. A young boy, watching his elders for years, built his very first fire pit completely on his own. Every motion he made mirrored what he had studied so carefully for so long. He got every single step right, and the whole tribe gathered to celebrate what he had done. It was a small moment, but it carried enormous weight for everyone watching. The tradition, carefully guarded for so long, was finally passing on to the next generation. Night after night, the same careful ritual repeated without fail. It had become second nature, something no one even had to think about anymore. Cover the fire, protect the camp, trust the process that had kept them alive. The hills stayed quiet and undisturbed, exactly as they should remain. Morning after morning, the flame returned reliably, faithfully, without exception. This was no longer just luck, this had become real, hard-earned knowledge passed through generations. The tribe hunted together, gathered together, built and rested as one unit. Every single day, no matter what happened, circled back to that one fire. Meat was cooked over it, tools were shaped beside it, stories were shared in its warm light. As evening fell each day, the fire always came first, before anything else mattered. The nights grew calm and predictable, almost peaceful in their steady routine. Predictability, once feared, had become their greatest source of safety. The camp trusted the fire completely, and the fire, in turn, always held its promise. Morning light returned exactly as it always did, without fail or hesitation. This simple, careful routine had quietly become the tribe's greatest strength of all. The elder stood and spoke, looking straight ahead at his people gathered around him. His voice, weathered by years, still carried the same quiet authority it always had. This fire, he said, was never just heat, it was survival itself, plain and simple. Every person present understood exactly what those words meant. The next generation would carry it forward, exactly as those before them had. The same flame, the same hard-earned wisdom, passed down once again through time. They didn't hide their fire because they were afraid of the dark. Fear alone could never have created something this thoughtful, this precise. They hid it because, after everything they had lost, they finally understood something deeper about the world around them. Understanding, earned through hardship, became their greatest inheritance, worth more than any tool they ever shaped. Every single layer of ash held their safety, their warmth, and their entire future within it. Nothing about this practice was accidental anymore, every single part of it had a purpose. They had learned to think ahead, to protect what mattered most without being told twice. This was never a sign of weakness, no matter how it might have looked from the outside. This, in every possible way, was pure intelligence, passed down through nights that could have ended differently. They didn't hide their fire because they were afraid of the dark. Fear alone could never have created something this thoughtful, this precise. They hid it because, after everything they had lost, they finally understood something deeper about the world around them. Understanding, earned through hardship, became their greatest inheritance, worth more than any tool they ever shaped. Every single layer of ash held their safety, their warmth, and their entire future within it. Nothing about this practice was accidental anymore, every single part of it had a purpose. They had learned to think ahead, to protect what mattered most without being told twice. This was never a sign of weakness, no matter how it might have looked from the outside. This, in every possible way, was pure intelligence, passed down through nights that could have ended differently.